Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we will be discussing how to do books and authors for judicial services exam. And this is a question we get so often that we've lost count. And it indeed is a very important, very pertinent question when you have to do judicial services exam preparation, because books and authors, that's in almost every state. Almost every state asks books and authors in the GK part, whether it's in mains or PT. That's what we're going to be discussing today. First of all, let's understand why you have to do books and authors. Books and authors is a very important part of every judicial services exam preparation, because you're most times preparing for more states than one, and it's the trend these days. Books and authors almost every state, be it Delhi, UP, etc. So you need to know books and authors. And as you can see on the screen, these are examples from Delhi Judicial Services past year papers. Books and authors is asked in every exam of Delhi Judicial Services, and sometimes in the recent years it's a 10-mark question straight up. So that's 10 marks there, sitting right in front of you, up for grabs, for absolutely free. It's an objective question. There is no subjectivity to it. It's not like an essay where the examiner will see, and if he likes it, depends upon subjective satisfaction, and then the examiner will give you 8 out of 10 or 7 out of 10. In this, if you answer each and every book and author correctly, you get 10 out of 10. It's an objective question, so that's 10 marks up for grabs, absolutely free. So make sure that you do books and authors, because when it comes to judiciary exams and cutoffs, 10 marks will make or break your exam. So let's understand the strategy that we recommend on how to do books and authors, because doing books and authors is not very easy. It's a list, a never-ending list in most books, and basically what people do is just ratify, mug it up like a parrot. Books and authors, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 pages of books and authors, they just mug it up, and it's not very easy to remember. As it is with judicial services exam preparation, there is so much mugging up to do. So how to make it easy for you to do books and authors? What we suggest is that you know a little bit of background about the book, if possible the cover page, a little bit about the author, so it's not just a series of words, but it actually has some significance. I know this sounds confusing, but just stay with me. By the end of the video, it'll be absolutely crystal clear. For those of you who have our books, our general knowledge book for judicial services exam, we have already done this for you. We've already taken the books and authors, and we've added a cover photo, and we've added the author's photo, a little bit about every book. For those of you who don't have our books, you can do this yourself or you can get our book, depends on you. So let's do it with an example. Mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy. For those of you who have our books, turn to page 117 so you can do this with us. And for those of you who don't, just keep looking at the screen. You will see the description and everything over there, so don't worry. This is a book which is Mayor of Casterbridge. It is written by Thomas Hardy. It's a classic, and it's asked in almost every exam. It's one of the most repeated questions, and you can see on screen the cover of the book, and you can see also the author. Now, so we understand a little bit better about the book, let's read about it a little bit. The only one paragraph that we give you in the book is that The Mayor of Casterbridge was published in 1886. The protagonist, Michael Henshard, is a hairdresser who one day gets so drunk that he auctions off his wife and child for 5 guineas to a sailor. When sober, he realizes his mistake and vows never to touch liquor. So that's the basic premise of the book. It's about a man who gets so drunk that he sells off his wife and child. Over the years, his hard work pays off, and he becomes rich and eventually becomes the mayor of Casterbridge. That's how this book gets its title. So it's about a man who gets so drunk, sells off wife and child, eventually says, I will never drink again, works hard, and then becomes the mayor of Casterbridge. 18 years after being sold off, his wife returns with a daughter who she persuades Henshard to believe is his. Meanwhile, Henshard quarrels with his assistant, who then proceeds to possess piece by piece everything that belonged to Henshard. Now you see the premise of this book, a little bit of background about the book. What is the story of this book, the cover page of the book, and on the book cover is Michael Henshard, who sold off his wife and child. And now this book is more than just a series of words for you. You have a little bit of background about it. You know a little bit about it. And it's much more easier to remember. You will remember this for an eternity, not just for the exam. Instead of just ratifying it like Mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy, Mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy, Mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy. That's not going to really help you in the long run. But when you read a little bit about the book and you have a little bit of background, you will remember it much better and much longer. And what if, this is further on, when you write the answer that Mayor of Casterbridge was authored by Thomas Hardy, full stop. After that, what if you write one line about the book as well? Isn't that going to just take your paper to a whole new level? So you write Mayor of Casterbridge, written by Thomas Hardy. It's up in this, the protagonist sells off his wife and child, eventually vows never to drink, and becomes the Mayor of Casterbridge. So the examiner is going to have much more respect for you. It's just one line. We are not writing one paragraph about the book. Don't do that. Don't waste time. Just one line. But that will set your impression on the examiner. The examiner is going to be like, yeah, this person is well read. He knows a little bit about the book and he knows a little bit about each book. That is so amazing. So he will look at your essay, your précis, your translation from a different angle. And the examiner will have more respect for you. They'll be like, yeah, this person's good. They'll give you better marks. So that's also one additional benefit of knowing a little bit about the book. And in addition to giving you the poster and a little bit about the book, what we have done in our ASAP Laws GK book is that we have patched up the authors. So all the Western classical authors in one line, all the Indian authors in one line, all the Bengali authors in one line, all the contemporary authors in one line, all the legal books in one line. So with batching of the authors, it's even more easier to remember. So you have for example, let's see, in the book we've done Mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy, which we just read about, then Dr. Zhivago, so commonly asked. Dr. Zhivago, Crime and Punishment, again, very often asked in the exam. The Trial, Franz Kafka, Catch-22, Joseph Heller. So all of these Western classical books have been batched up, they're together, and all of them have a little bit history about the book, a little bit about the story, and posters and pictures of the author, so it's easy for you to remember, and then you remember them all together patched up in one line. So that's how we suggest you do books and authors. And we've also done War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy in the same line. All of these are very classic books and asked in almost every exam. Let's take another example. Anand Math. Anand Math is a book by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. It's a classic. It's asked very commonly in exams. You can see on your screen the cover of the book. It has a fort on it and a rising sun, and it has the picture of the author. So let's see a little bit about the book. Anand Math, which literally translates into the Abbey of Bliss, and it's a Bengali novel written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. It was published in 1882. It is set in the background of Sannyasi rebellion of the 18th century and is considered one of the most important novels in the history of Bengali and Indian literature. Its importance is heightened by the fact that it became synonymous with the struggle for Indian independence from British Empire. The novel was actually banned by the British. The ban was later lifted by Government of India after independence, and the national song Vande Mataram was first published in this novel. So now you see the significance of Anand Math. It's one of the most classic, seminal, significant works when it comes to Indian literature. And now that you know a little bit about the book, you can write that in the exam. Just one line. But you will also remember about the book much better. Let's read a little bit about the author as well, so we have a little bit context. So the author Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay was a Bengali writer, poet, journalist. He was also the composer of India's national song Vande Mataram, which was originally a Bengali and Sanskrit strot personifying India as the mother goddess and inspiring the activists during the Indian freedom movement. So you know a little bit about the author, you know a little bit about the book, and as I've told you, we have all the Indian writers in one line. So Rag Darbari, Raj Tarangini, all of these very commonly asked. Ganadevta, all with cover photos and pictures of the authors. Mahabharata, Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas, all the works of Kalidas, Malvika Agnimitra, Vikram Urvashi, Raghuvansh, Meghdoot, Arthashastra, Ashtadhyayi, Anand Mat, as we discussed, Devi Chaudhrani. Now, all of these are Bengali authors. Anand Mat, Devi Chaudhrani, Gitanjali by Rabindranath Tagore, won the Nobel Prize. Parinita, Patthar Panchali, Aprajito, Kadambari. So, all of these Indian authors, Bengali authors in a line, patched up, much easier for you to remember. The books and authors, you'll remember it much better. If you write one line about the book in exam, that will take your impression on the examiner to a whole new level. And this is how we suggest you do books and author. And it's 10 marks up for free, which will make or break your exam. So, we hope this helped you. And if you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. Any requests, feedback, whatever. And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified of new videos.